Welcome back. Now, each year, 15 million girls worldwide are married before the age of 18. The United Nations says of the 10 countries with the highest rates of child marriage, 9 are in Africa. Niger has the highest prevalence of child marriage in the world, with 43% of girls married before their 18th birthday. Experts call this practice a silent health and human rights issue fueled by poverty, gender inequality, lack of education, and insecurity. 2 years ago, the African Union launched a campaign to end child marriage in Africa. The initiative aims to encourage governments across the continent to develop policies that address child marriage. Now, the issue of child marriage will be front and center at this year's Girls Summit being held this week right here in Washington, D.C. The event brings together policy experts, advocates, and U.S. government officials. Here to tell us more is Helena Minchu, a program officer for U.S. policy at the International Women's Health Coalition. Helena, welcome to Africa 54.
Thanks so much for having me.
Now, the theme, of course, very, very appropriately is keeping our promises to adolescent girls. Now, beyond the child marriage, tell us what this summit hopes to accomplish.
Yeah, absolutely. So the Girls Summit was initially put forward by the UK government in 2014, and since that, where there were millions of dollars committed to end child marriage and female genital mutilation, there's been a tremendous amount of work towards ensuring that girls are empowered, educated, and free from human rights abuses like child marriage. This year at Girls Summit DC, we hope to work on that and talk about, are we actually turning rhetoric into action, or are we just saying the same words over and over again?
Now, the conversation did not just begin. We know that across the world, across the continent of Africa, this has been going on. Why does it persist, and particularly in African countries?
Yeah, so as you mentioned, child marriage is a human rights violation. It's something that is an epidemic amongst adolescent girls, 15 million girls a year married. And what we really see is that there's a number of factors that perpetuate and exacerbate child marriage, like poverty, insecurity. In Africa, a lot of times parents tie girls' sexual purity and virginity to the family honor. But what it all boils down to is that we have a vast amount of gender inequality across the world and also in Africa. So when parents are overwhelmed by those factors like poverty, the social norms around honor, they tend to see only one avenue forward for their daughters, which is child marriage. And it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy that girls aren't valued, they're not educated, they're not invested in, and then they don't have any alternatives other than marriage.
And it's not fair.
It's not fair.
Now, do you see a kind of a very, one powerful solution to this very quickly?
Unfortunately, there's no silver bullet. I would love to tell you that there was, because that would make it so much easier and we could all put child marriage behind us. But it's a complicated issue with complicated drivers, and we need to have complicated solutions, which are comprehensive in nature, that tackle the root cause of gender inequality, that make sure that families see girls as valuable in their lives, and make sure that girls themselves see that they can be the ones who drive their lives forward and make sure that they're owning their own destinies.
Yes. Now, your work mostly focuses on U.S. policy, right?
Yes.
What has been the U.S. government policy towards stamping out child marriage, as far as you know?
So we've seen in this administration, the Obama administration, I think one of the most powerful ways to see adolescent girls that we've ever seen, and we've seen more work out of them than previous administrations. And what I mean by seeing girls in a certain way is that instead of looking at girls as piecemeal, that we need to tackle education over here and health over there, they see girls as holistic beings that have rights, and they have dreams, and they have futures that they should determine for themselves. And that shift has been really huge, because it allows President Obama to go to Kenya and Ethiopia last year and say, without caveats, that child marriage is wrong and that we need to educate girls. And it allows the U.S. administration to come forward with things like the U.S. Global Strategy to Empower Adolescent Girls, which was launched earlier this year and presents really a comprehensive view of how we can tackle not only child marriage, but also gender inequality and the things that keep girls out of school and keep them from thriving.
Thank you, and we just hope this continues. We love our girls. They're beautiful, they're powerful. Thank you very much, Helena. We do appreciate your insights. Now, Helena Minchu is a program officer for U.S. policy at the International Women's Health Coalition.